Here we are. All right, so it has been almost exactly a day since since the last race between Trails and RoseCtySaint. The last race was a quick one, and it ended with RCS ahead by 20 minutes, but it really only came down to like one change in their routing. Really, it was the raft more than anything, and that was a hint in one of the towns. But these two races are very close in skill. Trails is a bit more naturally adept at these randomized races, and RCS has been practicing and changing his game plan and adapting. So these two are definitely a match for each other.
However, tonight it is a semifinals elimination potential match for Trail Z. RoseCtySaint is up one more win for him, and Trail Z is out of the tournament. So it is going to be up to Trail Z to pull off a win tonight to keep the match going into another round. And I am Q Lane, along with Nightcrawler. We will be commentating our game here.
Indeed, I guess that was some important starting information. But yeah, these guys are starting with the glove, the candle, and the cross. That means, and they had upstab. Did they also have downstab?
We're going to find out what text they have, but I'm going to tell you right now, with the glove, a 0-gem seed, this is going to be a really fast potential race. Both players are going to want to grab as many spells as they can and dive into GP. I'm not sure. We're going to see.
Yeah, last night's race was fast. This is probably going to be even faster. What could block them? A fairy block? I mean,
there are numerous little things that could stop them, but we can see right here in the very first town, RoseCtySaint picking up the fairy spell, so that's going to be nice to have at the very beginning.
We started with no spells, but it kind of doesn't matter because they get one of the most important spells right off the bat in the first town of the game.
A lot of seeds can seemingly seem free, but you never know. Like, there can be the weirdest chain of events that could block you for 2 hours.
I'll always hope for the river devil behind a river. So you need like the boots and the flute. That's not going to happen though.
Well, as you can see right now, both of our players are still exploring the world map, trying to find a few extra items while looking for dungeons. You can see the entrance of Death Mountain there. RoseCtySaint quickly ducks out. Trail Z is going to pick up an item in this cave here. What would be nice to find in one of these item caves? What do you think, Nightcrawler?
Honestly, I would say boots, because that's going to, out of all the items, that's the one that's going to improve their overworld travel the most, and that could be what makes the difference in a race that's going to be this short.
Now, a race this short could potentially mean that they're going to have to go into the Great Palace and have to fight Thunderbird at low levels when they get there. They will not be placing any gems. So maybe picking up like a magic container or something here could stem some of the worries to give them extra access to their spells like Fairy to keep them alive.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be that Thunderbird is required, and we could have an expensive Thunder, and that could be quite the upset here. That could turn this from a very short race into a very long race very quickly. If Thunder is blocked in one of the towns, and there's a number of ways in which you could line up sort of a trade quest sort of thing to get that Thunder spell.
An ideal level to fight Thunderbird around, which is time efficient and doesn't involve too much grinding, is around levels 4 and 5 attack. Those levels tend to make quite the difference getting up there. You can fight him and beat him at lower levels of attack, but potentially with Thunderbird having 60 or more hits, that could cost you a lot of time.
Absolutely. Oh, Helmet guards a raft. Easy, nice hint for RCS. Kamito's got it where it counts. So, actually, one of the big differences last night was RCS found the hint for raft, and it was that it was in the west. In other words, it was on the overworld somewhere. And Trails was diving into palaces looking for that raft and diving just about every which way except for the Peabag Cave. All right, so they are picking up the downstab now. They got all their techs. But this time, RCS is going to be the one diving into the palaces because he knows that the Ract is going to be in Palace 2.
Trailsy skipped, I guess, out on the hints last night. We're thinking why, and it could be that RoseCtySaint is just rather good, and so Trailsy is trying to make up time by not checking all the hints, while RoseCtySaint is feeling that he's going to check all the hints because he doesn't want to lose to like a simple mistake like that to Trailsy.
Now RCS also picking up a hint that the medicine lies in the west, and that means it's going to be a pretty easy item to acquire. And it's going to be a spell, but he's already checked in Mito. I don't know if he's actually going to want to go back. If he's going to want to cut that out and gamble on, well, it's not that much of a gamble. Like, the chances that it's going to be Thunder and that Thunder acquired is like 1 in 21 or something at this point, something like that. But it could happen.
I just want to bring your attention to something. They are 5 minutes into this race, and look at the amount of experience and levels that both of these players have managed to bring up. Now, granted, they found a few, like a 500 P-Bag, and they've gotten some experience drops, but they've stayed alive with their 1 life. Have you seen a game over from either of these players?
I don't think I've seen a death. Yeah, I think they are very comfortable, with the starting techs, with the starting heart containers, and of course, most importantly, with their skill, they're having no problem with this seed right now.
Yeah, they don't have life right now. I don't think they have life. I've only seen the fairy spell, and
yep,
that's a fluke.
Oh gosh, my hopes and dreams are unraveling before my eyes. Well, and they do have fairy. Although it's fairly expensive, something like 62 or 61 magic, it looks like.
Are you sure you saw right? We're going to find out pretty shortly. Actually, that's the downstab I saw it around the 50 range, but...
Well, it's possible that Trails had cast another spell before then. I'm just not sure what it would have been. He didn't have any other spells, right? Just the fairy? So if he's at 2 or 3 magic points right now, then that means that it must have been 62 or 61.
Level. Exactly. That's their... in the overworld.
That would be great. I would like that.
No, we've been joking around about trying to see if there's any way to get different enemies into different character banks so you can get like the spiders inside of the dungeons or the dark nuts on the overworld, but it's kind of really difficult right now. You'd have to switch a lot of palettes and sprites around to do that kind of thing. A lot of work. Actually, I do think the spiders, not the Tektites, but the spiders can be in the dungeons already, because if you look in the graphics data, for most of the dungeons, the spider is in there. And I remember Boss Guma replaces some of those graphics in P5 because he's so large. But it should be possible to just throw in the spider right now. Yeah. It seems that there might have been some block in the western continent, so RoseCtySaint is going through the jump cave to find out, gain access to the other side. Trailsy heading through Saria. Maybe he'll ferry through to the other side of Saria.
That's probably a more efficient way of doing it. Because I don't think we've seen the far entrance, so this is going to go somewhere. And has RCS picked up the spell from Saria?
Oh, no. I think he's seen that side of the cave before. So yeah, he might have to go through Saria.
Oh, picking up fire. At Magic 3, it's still 51. Still fairly expensive, but fire gets cheap pretty quick. I'm not doubting that right now.
But
and Trails is not
going to fare the other side, so is there something we're missing here on the west?
Possibly. I don't think Trails would make a simple mistake like that. He would see that opportunity right there.
Well, there's always the crow seeds that force you to go through Death Mountain to get to the other side. There are 2 extensions.
Can it happen? I love that. That's my favorite thing.
But just the possibility, it's not going to happen. It's not now.
Well, we got P-Bag Cave. I don't think we've seen this one yet. So there's still a lot to explore here. Maybe that's what he was thinking. He was thinking, I haven't explored everything yet, and Maybe he got the hint about the medicine being in the west. Picking up the pea bag, not what he was looking for, but honestly, not that bad if you're trying to finish the game early and getting those pea bags early. These guys normally wouldn't care about going in any of the dungeons, but RCS does know
They're
that
hunting down Palace 2. They need that raft, and neither of them have found that dungeon yet.
Have they found any palaces?
Yes, they found... Well, actually, I'm thinking they found North Castle. Is the one right next to the cave that Rose City took. But
Oh yeah, sure. North Palace, you start there, of course.
But I'm not sure if we've seen the actual dungeons.
Oh, did Trails just see P2 and nope out, or was that P5? That was P2 or P5, one of the two. So maybe he doesn't have the hint. This could be ugly.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, don't do it again. Oh wow, look at all these palaces.
So we have Palace 4, maybe 3 or 6, and Palace 2.
There's no more palaces on this continent. RCS going... Nope. RCS not going into P2. Doesn't want that raft. He can swim.
He's going to pick up the fire spell here. I'm not sure if he's grabbed it yet.
True. For all he knows, it's something that could make the palace. And hey, if it in his mind, if it turns out to be thunder, then he doesn't have to worry about getting medicine, and he can just go.
Buzz Thunder. I have to inform him what he's missing right now. This is a 0-gem seed. Both players start with the glove, and well, no spells. So they're racking up, grabbing their spells, get the raft, and hop into that great palace as soon as they find it.
If Trails doesn't get the raft hint again, and this is what makes him lose again, ah man, he's going to be kicking himself all week for that. Yeah, we know GP is east because all the other palaces on here. I mean, we got 3 or 6, 4, and
Trail Z is going to have to dive into one of the 3 dungeons, guessing which one where to have the item if he doesn't have that hint. RoseCtySaint is going to go right into Palace 2 to get the raft.
Now, we haven't seen the medicine yet, so I'm guessing it's blocked behind that boulder block. Because I think they've checked, most if not all of the item locations. Other than that one. Which would be Medicine Cave. Dick share. Just a pile of pee for RCS.
Rosie wisely deciding not to explore Death Mountain there, popping out of there. If he went through Death Mountain and found nothing but a pea bag, that would be disastrous.
He needs those hints. But I don't see him going back into... What was it? Rauru or Rudo that it was in? Mido. It was a Mido again. RCS? Don't
if
you
I'm
want
Trail
that?
Z, I'm thinking, if that's Palace 3, maybe I can get that item a lot quicker than Palace 2, because Palace 2 is perhaps the longest out of the 3 dungeons to find the item room, and Palace 4 can sometimes be long. So maybe if that's Palace 3, Trail Z jumps in there and gets the item in that dungeon.
The reflexes on RCS, up and A instead of just pressing left on the D-pad. On that the second palace he got to. RCS, yeah. So yeah, now RCS has all the information that Trails has. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing about Trails right now. Yep, here he goes in the P2. And we could be seeing RCS pulling away, unfortunately. Unless Trails finds something critical that we don't know is critical. So RCS is just going to head left as much as possible. He's going to take those death abuses. Fortunately, Fairy has gotten much cheaper. Not quite cheap enough to cast it more than once.
that could be an issue. Like, as you see right here, if RoseCtySaint doesn't get enough keys, he might get fairy blocked, and he only has 1 extra life. So if this item is like at the furthest possible corners of Palace 2, he will have to exit and return here later. Perhaps.
Get the key. No, never mind. Never mind. He's got a key now, because he picked it up and he up and he passed the door that he'd ferried past originally, but I figure it's going to be hard death abusing, because you got all those heart containers.
I'm surprised he didn't check at the end of the room there for an extra key, because he could get key blocked on his last life. Like, this is not usual to only have 1 fairy to get through all your doors. So if he runs out of keys, he's going to have an issue.
Yeah, Trail's got his recorder, thankfully. And I don't know if it's just me, but P2 always puts the item in the most inconvenient place possible for me. Like, whenever I play.
It's just if you get 2 locked room doors in a row, you will get stuck, unless you have to waste a life.
But they only have 1 life, don't they? Or is it...
Well, they have 1 extra life.
So that's
this is not 0, yeah. This is not...
Oh, he better not botch this, because casting a fair here, that's 1 less door.
Very, very smooth, very nicely done.
Oh, glove blocked or not? They have a glove already. I despise this room in most randomizer seeds when I'm looking for the glove or something. No. Yeah, okay, here we go. Not too bad.
Very fortunate.
He's just going to cast fair and get through. Absolutely. And there it is. He's going to up an A, and I believe the raft spot's pretty close. Maybe not. Looks like Trails, however, is kind of in the same situation he was in yesterday. Kind of checking places he's been.
Oh, he's gonna dive one of the dungeons right now. We'll see which one.
Oh yeah, he's gonna dive. He's gonna dive P4 because he knows that he can get the item here. Oh, poor Trails.
Well, okay. Here's the play for Trail Z. Look at neither player has the Thunder spell yet. Have we seen what Fire does?
No.
Okay, so if Thunderbird is required, Trail Z goes into Palace 4, finds the Miracle Child in there, gets the Thunder spell, comes back into the game. Like, don't count this out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are ways that. Oh, free life. That's going to be nice getting through P4. Okay, that's an extra door. That's funny. When a life is basically just a key.
Yeah, it works.
And you can pick up a life as a fairy, so it's a little bit better. I'd pick up that P bag.
Nah, he knows he's in a rush. He knows something's up right now. So he's got no time to be thinking about experience. He's already at 4, 4, 5. Those are the levels he's going to go through the Great Palace with.
Maybe.
Unless he finds like a few 500 P bags or something on the east he can spam on the way. As soon as he gets to the east, like look at Rose. Rose is also sitting at 4, 4, 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying Magic 5 could make a big difference. Especially if Thunder's not even
Magic 5
cast.
Tends to make Fire a lot more castable usually. So we could see whatever that is, but
Alright, RCS, getting his items. Not really much of an item. I'm guessing, yeah, that's going to be the health level up. He's not going to take that when he gets there. He's got plenty of juice. He's going to skip that and try to get Magic 5 or something. Which, as we know, is 1470. Huge jump from 660. Okay, never mind. He took the level.
both players sitting on 4, 4, 5 right now.
I don't know. With no gems, I'd kind of save up. Because, I mean, what good's that extra life level going to do you, really? It's just going to make it harder to death abuse. Although, they don't need a death abuse anymore, really.
But you never know. You can invest in a Magic 5, and then nothing goes down. Like, we've had those scenarios in those CG4s. Sometimes you get that magic level, and it's like one spell that you don't use goes down by like 8 points or something.
Indeed. And this is my kind of game. A game where you don't cast Fairy to go through the... You don't do Fairy Feet because it's just too expensive.
So Trail Z is going to be in the same situation Rose was with the keys in the situation of Palace 4. If he gets 2 locked doors in a row, he's going to have to waste a life to go through.
If he'd been saving up, he'd have almost 1,200 experience now. Just saying. I'm just being a jerk. I'm sorry. Oof, wrong Palace. But he's not going to up an A because he's already gone this far. I guess he doesn't want to restart from Northern Palace. If fire is shield, that's marginally useful.
So Trails ducks out of Palace 4. There is a lot of locked doors in Palace 4. He's getting blocked and stopped everywhere. So he's going to...
P6.
Try the miracle of Palace 6? No, he's going to Palace 2.
Good.
Yeah. I think he's made up his mind. However, this means that Trails will get no extra advantages from finding whatever items may lurk within those dungeons.
Yeah, so unfortunately that's just lost time. There's no way that he's getting that time back.
Well, we're gonna find out when he gets over to the east what he does differently from Rose.
Absolutely. I just meant that particular time investment. Even if they realize that they have to go back to those palaces, he wouldn't really have much of an exploration advantage with that.
But Rose has to be careful. He might lose the extra life of his. He is on his last 8 or so hit.
Oof. These guys don't have that many spells yet. Oh, is he going for Death Mountain?
It looks like a long Death Valley. Not going to be too easy to get through there.
It's going to be trying to do the encounter skip. Misses it this time, and Fairy is too expensive to Fairy Feet through. And he doesn't have the health to actually just plow his way through. So his only hope is to get this encounter skip.
The enemies are spooking him.
I'm telling you, man, that Magic 5. Oh, almost. That was close. This is, Trails is getting some of that time back now. If he can do this faster. Okay, he got one.
Yeah,
Looks
Rose
like there's
can't
going to be at
afford to
least...
waste any addition. Oh, he gets 2 squares in a row. So RoseCtySaint cannot go to the right or to the left. I mean, back to the right, or he will go back into the previous encounter. So he can only go in the one direction because the 2 Death Valley tiles right linked to each other.
That's a painful situation to be in. Alright, there's another skip. But this looks like this is going to have 3 encounters. It's a maximum of 3, right? So like the rest of that's going to be all clear.
We're going to see how Trail Z handles the Chewy here. RoseCtySaint very carefully jumped in and crouch stabbed him.
Alright, so RCS taking the intentional death, knowing that this has to be the last of the forced encounters, and he's going to force his way through there because he doesn't want to risk the possibility of missing a Fairy Feet.
Thankfully, Trails is on the path to pick up the raft. He will be over to the east. He might find Death Valley a lot... Oh, was that not Great Palace then?
No, it was P3. I think...
Okay, this
is where I would...
puts Trails back in the game if he goes a different weird direction on the east and finds the last dungeon, the Great Palace.
Absolutely. This is where I would have lost the game, though, because I would have been so invested in that P3 Valley of Death that I would have gone for the item and just hoped it was something required, and that would not have paid off for me, probably. I mean, they've had so many tea bags so far that it's probably an item of some kind. It's just probably not going to be useful. Although, you know, with as much of the west as as much as the east as they have seen, the possibilities that boots are acquired is kind of increasing a little bit. Well, or they could just take the bridge.
Well, RoseCtySaint is saying he needs to go across the bridge. What does TrailZ say? We'll find out.
Alright, another town. Might as well check it. Nabaru. Nice, easy spell to get. I don't think he's going to be checking for any hints at this point, though.
Trails is taking this extension cave. I'm not sure where this one leads, but it leads him to the northern side.
That's possibly a good thing.
Yeah. RoseCtySaint went above the river to the north.
Yeah, Trails could possibly be picking...
Oh,
not checking.
Wait. Yeah, there is the River Devil. Both TrailZ and Rose have the flute, so they can actually go and use that, or TrailZ can use that here. I'm not sure if it brings them in.
And to the west, there's a nice patch of water that I'm hoping is required to jump over. Because it looks like there's something on the other end. Alright, we got Darunia. They don't really have a child or anything like that. Okay, well. Old Kasuto.
Is Thunder going to be in its home? Is it going to happen?
Possibly. It's getting more likely.
Reflect. No
nice
deal,
to have.
But, well, he won't be able to cast that and Thunder in a fight against Thunderbird, so...
So we haven't seen Nukasudo. And we haven't seen the items for any of the item required... Sorry, we haven't seen any of the spells for any of the item required... No one's turned in any kind of trophy or...
Yeah, well, RoseCtySaint has made his way over to the same area, so he's in the same area as TrailZ right now.
Fortunately, yeah, right now, they're kind of tied. It just is a matter of if Trails is going to repeat the mistakes that RCS made. Alright, RCS trying to get through this desert, or not. He's looking for another way around. Through the swamp. But yeah, it looks like there's 3 ways to head to the west of the eastern continent. There's heading straight through the swamp, which does link up to where the desert goes. And desert tile here? Nope, just experience 1. And there's the boots area to the north, which might not go anywhere. I'm always hoping it does.
Well, I'm not sure where this dungeon is hidden. There's not too many places left. It has to
there.
Be right?
This is probably it. This is a 1 in 2 chance.
Their way around. They're both right there.
All right. Now this is a game.
This may be the closest game of our tournament, perhaps. Both players into the Great Palace within like 5 seconds of each other with the same levels, equipment, stuffs. Rose might have an extra spell. I haven't seen all the spells their players contain.
He might. Neither of them are hoping for Thunder to be required, and there's Thunderbird. So Trails with a little bit of an early info lead. He's going to be taking this elevator up and checking to see where that goes. Heads left, but so does every other option he's got, so he's going to take this one.
No, they're going to follow the path, and we'll see where our players diverge, if they diverge at all. Neither of them having the upstab, so Rose has to be careful. He can't fight those bird knights so easily.
Well, Life 5 is serving them pretty well. They're only taking like a bar and a half or less from a bop.
Yeah, but they only have 1 extra life. I'm not sure if Rose saved his other extra life, but it seems if you die, it's going to be difficult going through this linear path. It's not like you can go a different direction, explore a different way. If it's an entirely one-way linear all the way through with only one extra life, without the life spell, how are you going to heal?
I hope this jump spell pays off for him. Nope. Okay. Yeah, they got no life spell. But there is a left right at the start, isn't there? That they didn't go to?
We saw a right to go to the Thunderbird right at the start. I remember that. I'm not sure about a left. I could have missed it.
If there is no left, then...
if this is entirely linear so far, that means that Dark Lake cannot be hidden behind that Thunderbird until like we see a fall drop location. Because there has to be some way to get back into this side of the dungeon.
Got it.
Okay, if there is a left at the beginning, then never mind.
Buzz Thunder, just check your map. Come on, Buzz. No one has time to make maps during a race. That's ridiculous. Just kidding.
Okay, we see Trailsy going up in the Lava Fun Room. RoseCtySaint.
I would have picked up
there
that ferry.
shortly.
I definitely would have picked up that ferry. At 2 bars ahead.
Oh, very clutch save there. Trailsy landing on the edge of the tile there. Very close to falling off.
So it looks like there's a lot more options available to these guys now. And now we got Eon Drop. Oh, Trail's taking that down.
Trailsy trying to play hockey here. The body check, not too good against the bird.
Oh yeah, so RCS has Jump, and Trails does. Jump is a very useful spell for this dungeon, but Trails is
they don't have the
doing without it.
To cast it. Like, remember when I was telling you about that extra magic container? Oh boy.
He's going to take the drop.
Barely
whether he likes it or not.
Ledge.
Oh no, RCS is done. He had time to cast Fairy, but he didn't have the magic.
This could lead RCS to going left here from the other.
Yeah. Which could pay off, or could be
hold on, making it all the way to the Eon drop. So this puts him into a new part of the dungeon, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely does. Although it could just lead to where RCS is going. Oh, I hate this when there's bullets coming from below. But not this time. Oh no, it just led to a free life. But RCS is going to take
free
that.
Life is a free life. If Trailsy dies, he has to make it all the way back here. So it is a long linear road. I didn't see too many other options for him.
At this point, with this many, well, neither of them know exactly what lies in the directions that they've gone. And they haven't exhausted all their options, but it's becoming more and more likely that Thunder is required. Oh wow, we're going to have some fancy footwork from Trails. Oh, do it. You can do it. Wow, that was nice.
A lot of practice, but he has to hold it right to the rest of the screen, and sadly...
But the Bagu Bagu above, and the fire from the Bagu Bagu catching up to him, he didn't have time to drop, and he couldn't jump, so it was an unfortunate situation to be in. Maybe a perfectly initiated upstab, but that, not an easy thing to do.
RoseCtySaint, he's a fan of just continuously doubling down on the Great Palace when he knows he has everything else that he needs to keep exploring rooms. So we're likely going to see him keep going until he checks the other paths.
Fairy here?
He might potentially leave for the Thunder Spell if he gets blocked too much. We'll see.
True.
But yeah, left of
but
the
it doesn't
fairy
look like
room,
it.
We have not seen that direction yet, Buzz.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be checking that this next time through. I forgot, does the fairy reappear when you die? It doesn't, right?
Only when you completely reset your file.
Right. It's too bad because RCS's life is dwindling. Life 5 is good, but
No,
yeah.
actually, I think the fairy, it comes back when you update. I haven't played in a while. You can see I'm rusty.
Okay. Yeah. Me too. So we share that in common. I'm still amazed by the sprite work in this game. So good. Like, a lot of these sprites are really good, like the spicy chicken. You can see exactly what it is. More or less. The Iron Knuckles, the Bird Knights. Really good.
It's a good thing that they do have that fairy spell. Without the fairy spell in this Great Palace, getting through that room right there with the 2 blue chickens, the spicy Thunderbird, that would be an ordeal and a half.
Yeah, with the jump spell, it's a little more manageable, but still difficult. RCS not taking left at Fairy Room. I guess because he doesn't know what lies ahead in this direction, which definitely puts Trails at an advantage.
The drop yet, like the Eon drop.
That puts Trail at an advantage.
However, Trailsy died before we got to the end of whatever lay on the other side of this. RoseCtySaint has an extra life going in that direction, so he might see whatever was on the other side. Yeah,
that's absolutely true. I'm just kind of going under the assumption that that isn't going to lead to Dark Link because I'm stupid.
Whoa. There must be a reason in there somewhere, but we're gonna figure this out as both players narrow down the rooms.
Yeah, I guess as long as there's rights, Dark Link could be there.
Behind any drop, Trailsy finally opting take left, Fairy Room. This is the choice.
That's his rule.
Leads into the Jack and Miss room.
That's a good room to find. Lots of options.
Very close. If Rose takes 2 hits in this screen, he's gonna die.
Or just one.
I would rephrase that. Just one. Very carefully trying to navigate through these flying horses.
Youch. Yeah, those horse heads are doing maybe even slightly more damage than the blue Bird Knights. Don't underestimate unicorns. Yeah, that was more damage than the Bird Knights.
Enemies in the Great Palace do a lot more damage than their usual counterparts in the other dungeons.
And have a lot more HP. What is RCS going to do here? Just power through. Best thing to do. Take the hit from the enemy that's the weakest.
The actual physical body of the enemy.
Ooh, that was nice. Did you see that on Trail's screen?
No, I missed it. I'm just seeing RoseCtySaint getting bodied by a buzz
3
times in a row as Trailsy finds the Dark Link room.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Is this his last life? Trail's last life?
I think it is. But even if
jumps on him could end him.
Even if it is, he could get back there faster than RCS could. Oh, but the route that RCS took leads him into the Jackamus room too. Oh, but he doesn't. He's going right though.
RoseCtySaint. Yeah, he's gonna know his only direction is to go back. But congratulations and GG to Trailsy with a first place time of 37 minutes and 43 seconds. RoseCtySaint right on the right path, will be very shortly behind.
Yeah, so congratulations to Trails. If you haven't put your GGs in chat, maybe your keyboard's broken, but I'd say that's a GG. So he finished with an official SRL time of 37 minutes and 43 seconds. Very nice, fast time. And he is going to be tying it up with RCS. Yeah, look how fast that was.
Trailsy instantly hopping into the interview room here. Congratulations, GG on your match. RoseCtySaint fighting Dark Link as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, good job. You've evened it up, Trails. So that takes it to a third game.
I mean, you guys know, man, last night doesn't generally happen, so.
Yeah. It almost happened again. Because you missed the raft hint again.
All right, yes.
Oh shit, there was another
Saint.
raft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
RoseCtySaint in the town of Raru, I believe it was, where he picked up the raft hint, said it was in Palace 2 for him. So he instantly, he made his way over to Palace 2 a lot quicker than you did and gone through that dungeon. You made an interesting decision. You were in Palace 4 and Palace 6 at the time, deciding which of the two to go through, and you opted out of 4 to eventually pick up on your Palace 2.
Yeah, so I mean, even without the hint, I still ended up ahead somehow. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Usually the glove or the raft likes to
Well,
hide.
you run ahead there. RoseCtySaint, he went to Palace 2, he gets over to the east, he checks every other dungeon in the east, goes to Death Valley, Maze Island, has to reset back to the west. This gives you time to get over to the east, and you take the right direction, and you find yourself going into the Great Palace within 5 seconds of each other, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And if you haven't gotten your GGs in chat for RCS, who finished just a short time after Trails, he had an official SR time of 39 minutes and 6 seconds, so about a minute and a half slower than Trails. But yeah, so what happened was, I mean, especially when he was in Valley of Death, he was having because ferry was so expensive, he couldn't really ferry feet through those encounters. And there's 3 encounters in there and a very long Valley of Death. And it was just difficult to get the encounter skips, and that was really his only option, especially since when he first went in there, he only had like 8 hit points, so he couldn't even just body his way through. So he lost a lot of time there.
Even this race was so close up until the final second. Both players, did you know, Trails, that you could RoseCtySaint found Dark Link going a different direction. You approached, I believe, going left from the ferry room, while he went the other way and found his way all the way around to Dark Lake. He took the longer path, however, in Great Palace.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
That was the path where you died taking the Eon drop, I believe, where he makes it all the way to the end, but it eventually leads the longer way back to Dark Link. But you died and you found a quicker way going back and around going the other way.
We got the dancing sprite again.
Hello, Rose, is that you?
Yo, you know it. How you doing?
Oh
GG.
man, this race, very close indeed between both of you.
Yeah, both of you guys, we were talking to Trails just a minute ago about, what happened. Both of you had a serious advantage and a serious blunder, and they just happened to even out and put you guys very close at the end.
Okay, cool. Tell me more about that.
So, Trails didn't get the raft hint, but when he was checking all the possible locations, and then he started checking the palaces, he went to P4, and it was just there were too many doors to really get through there very, very efficiently. Then P6, he was like, nah, not doing P6. So then he went to P2 just by process of elimination, and that's where you got the hint to where the raft was. So that's where he lost a lot of time.
While Trail was going through all these dungeons, you had already gone through Palace 2, made your way over to the east, and you're just walking around the Yellow Brick Road, you're seeing Death Valley, you're seeing Maze Island, and you're not finding the Great Palace. When RoseCtySaint warps back, eventually makes all the way back around, back to the Great Palace, Trail has eventually found the raft, makes it into the Great Palace 5 seconds or so ahead of RoseCtySaint, with the same levels, all the same items.
Mm-hmm. The only advantage you had was you had the jump spell and Trails didn't.
So what was my blunder?
I think Trails had Reflector or something instead.
Oh, the blunder was... It wasn't a mistake so much, it was just a chance, checking Maze Island and checking Death Valley.
There were 2 paths leading up to find even Dark Link in the final dungeon. As I said, you both entered around the same time. RoseCtySaint takes the Eon drop and makes his way all the way around to eventually find Dark Link. Trail Z, however, had an unfortunate game over not too long after taking the Eon drop, goes back through the dungeon, takes the fairy room eventually left, and finds Dark Link.
That fairy room is a nice shortcut.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
well,
you made your way all the way around with the extra life you took at the start after your first up A.
Yeah, it's,
I don't know what to say for myself except that was just really bad luck on the placement of Great Palace. That Maze Island was especially long. You had to go through about 4 or 5 encounters in both items in order to get to the palace, so that sucked. And of course, there was the 3 encounter Valley of Death and my encounter skips were not cooperating, so that was also a problem. I mean, just in a race this close, something as simple as if I had gotten kinder encounter skips, I think you're looking at a photo finish or even a different result.
yeah.
So I have no regrets. This was not my kind of seed. I absolutely, if there's one thing that I hate more than anything, it's a start with the glove 0 gem seed. This is the opposite of what I was looking for, and to finish within 90 seconds, I'm happy with that result, but it's also just incredibly frustrating.
Okay,
Now I gotta go through this all over again.
There was some confusion during the race. What was Fire linked to?
Shield.
fire was shield spell.
Did it ever get cheap enough to?
Because we
Figure
were
out
wondering whether you'd grind a magic or take a magic 5, but eventually you both decided to take life 5, I believe, at the cheaper 660 cost.
Yeah, I felt that there was no real advantage in saving for another magic level, especially without Thunder.
Right.
Both of you walk into the dungeon, you see the Thunderbird right away, very first room to the right. Were you tempted at any point to just hop out of the dungeon and grab the Thunder spell, either of you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, never, not unless it was absolutely proven. I was going to go to the ends of the earth.
Well, you guys were getting there. You guys checked every other possible room between the two of you.
The only thing, as far as I can tell, that I'd left behind was before I took a path up to go toward the Jackamus room, there was a drop or a drop room, I should say, and I suppose that could have been a thing, but I was really fearful it was going to lead back to that Trails room, which was at the very beginning, and led only to a 1-up.
Well, that 1-up helped carry you all the way back around to Dark Link and finish the game out. Unfortunately, a few seconds too slow.
Yeah,
that was really bad. I figured I might have an advantage with that hint for the raft. That I knew that wouldn't be something that everyone would get. Went right and down toward Maze Island and Valley of Death instead of up beyond the river, and that was a big difference.
Right. Something that we pointed out during the first 5 minutes of the run is 5 minutes into the race, you guys are already sitting at like attack 2, magic 3, and life 4 at that period of time. I'm just saying how quickly it was for you, both of you, to build up your levels so quickly in the seed. You knew it was a necessity because you're not going to the dungeons to get your levels there. You're power leveling very quickly.
Sure. When you start with that many heart containers too, you're destined to get a lot of 500-point bags, and that was the case. And even in a 0 gem seed, it still makes sense to grab a couple of those because you're going to want to be at least attack 3, and if you can get to life 4 too, that would be to your advantage.
Neither of you started with a life spell, so you're sitting on just that 1 extra life going through the west. We didn't even see either of you die in the west for the most part until you start getting over to the east, and then from there.
Yeah, a lot of survivability, only the 2 lives, but there were so many heart containers that dying wasn't really a consideration until GP.
Right, so as we can see here, there is a 3rd hype round. When is it? Give us the date.
I have no idea yet. I don't
right now.
Can't make it for tomorrow because I don't want to step on the weekly.
All right, so you two will schedule and decide in your own time.
Yeah,
Until
we'll
then,
figure
we
it
haven't
out.
decided when you're going to.
Probably within the next 5 days or 7 days.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair guess. One way or another, I want to get it over with fairly quickly.
One of you will be going home. Well, I guess you're already at home, but one of you will be leaving the tournament after your next elimination. Any final words of, last words before?
Not really. Just have fun.
Yeah, I got nothing except I just hope the next one isn't 0 gem start with glove.
All right, no 0 gem starting with glove. We'll try and see what we can do here. We'll work on the flag system until the next match.
I kind of want a 1 heart container to live see, but those haven't been popping around too much recently. Hopefully we get one on our last roll.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, until then,
that makes one
thanks
of
for
us.
joining us. And we'll see you on your next match.